Hey friends, it's Robin. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the first TBR of 2024. Wild. If you haven't seen one of my TBRs before, every single month I pick prompts out of this jar and it just helps me pick books off of this list in order to prioritize and set a set TBR. I will have last year's playlist linked down in the description box if you want to see any of my previous TBRs. I have updated my prompts for 2024, so these are all fresh, new prompts. There are obviously still some of the same prompts from previous years, but I threw away all of the other ones, rewrote them all out, added some in, took some out. So we have a fresh set of prompts for 2024. I do want to kick this TBR off with one announcement. I am doing a year-long buddy read with some friends of mine. I'm going to pop the graphic up here on the screen so you can see who's involved in all of that, but we are going to be reading the Roch series. We are planning to read essentially one book a month throughout the year, with the caveat of if there is a novella, we will be reading that novella as well as its like corresponding full-length book in that month. So for the month of January, we will be reading two books. We will be reading Roch Reawakening, which is the prequel novella, as well as Roch by Kristen Ashley. All of our live shows are going to be hosted over on Heather from AUDIOBOOKTube's channel, so she will be linked down in the description box, and they are most likely going to be happening around the last Saturday of the month. So January's live show as of right now is penciled in for January 27th, so there will be information for the buddy read down in the description box. You can check out all of our announcement videos. I think pretty much everyone is either doing it in their resets or their TBRs. Let me know if you are planning to participate. I've never read a Kristen Ashley book. I know nothing about this series. I believe it might be romantic suspense. From here, we're going to get into the actual TBR. As always, I have a sheet of paper here where I have a bunch of different categories. The categories are those buddy reads. I have some January arcs, February arcs. I have a couple of Winterween books, which are just a couple of thrillers that I have as arcs, a vlog that I'm doing in January, new releases, the remaining Satanverse books that I have, and then any rereads or late books. So those are all the categories, and this jar is going to help us pick 12 books off of this list. Last thing I wanted to mention, I don't have like a cart here anymore. I'm actually thinking of getting rid of my cart because I don't buy books physically anymore. Only books that come into my possession are books that people send me, primarily Berkeley because I'm part of their influencer program, but I don't buy books that I haven't read, so I don't need like a TBR cart. The only books that I have physically to choose from are these ones right here. That's a little tangent. So let's pick our first prompt of 2024. Hopefully it's a good one and we start off the year on a good note. I feel like this is setting the tone for 2024. It's a lot of pressure for this first prompt. Let's go with this one. The first prompt of the year is to read a book that is not a romance. Okay, I feel like the most obvious thing to go with here is one of the books that I have for Winterween. I am quote unquote participating in Winterween, but it's really just to read 3 books, 2 of which are thriller arcs that I have, and 1 is a library book. So we're gonna go with No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. This I have as an audiobook through NetGalley, and it is Kate Alice Marshall's latest adult thriller. I believe that this one does release in January, if I'm remembering correctly. I am filming my January releases video right after this, but I'm pretty sure it's a January release. I believe that this is a pretty like typical thriller setup, but I have really loved Kate Alice Marshall's YA horror, and so I'm interested to give her next adult thriller a try. I believe this is following a couple who falls onto hard times, and the wife finally admits that she owns this like massive mansion, and she's never told her husband that she has this because her parents were murdered there pretty brutally, and now they have to move back to this giant mansion. You are learning that her and her sisters are like the ones that everyone believes murdered their parents, and you are figuring out what happened all those years ago. I'm excited to see where this one goes. So that's going to be the first book. Prompt 2. Let's pick this one. All of these are like newly folded, and so I feel like they're all going to be stuck together. This one is to read a book with a non-illustrated cover. It can be a little tricky to find a romance book that is not illustrated anymore. They're all cutesy illustrated covers. So for this one, I actually had to dig kind of deep into this list here. I'm going to go with Shameless Puck Boy by Eden Finley and Sex and James. This is the third book in the Puck Boy series. I am continuing my Seidenverse journey to hopefully get that video done in the first quarter of the year. And I am rereading the first two books in the series because I read these first two Puck Boys books in like January, and they are what set me down the Seidenverse rabbit hole in the first place. So I'm rereading them. So one of the first books we're going to read in January is Shameless Puck Boy. I believe that this is a romance between one of the hockey players that keeps getting into trouble and a physical therapist. No, the person that's like head of their PR. That's what it is. Prompt number 3, this one. And this one is to read a book with disability and or mental health representation. For this prompt, I'm actually going with The Friendship Study by Ruby Barrett because this covers both disability and mental health. So the hero was a firefighter and was in a car accident and can no longer be a firefighter anymore because of his disability, and the heroine has ADHD. I believe that this is a like friends to lovers romance. These two are like in their 30s, I believe, and they meet somehow and they go from like being strangers to friends to lovers. It sounds like it's going to be a slow burn. The hero is also bi, and I'm very excited to read this one. This author's first book was on my TBR in 2023, but I didn't end up picking it up. But this one just sounds absolutely amazing, and I am very excited to give this author a try now. Prompt number 4. Oh, they're all stuck together again. Okay, let's go with this one. To read a sports romance that isn't hockey. There are so many hockey romances now, especially like with the Seidenverse, they're all hockey romances. So I decided to like break them up. So for this one, I'm actually going to go with How You Get the Girl by Anita Kelly. This is a sapphic basketball romance. We are following a ex-WNBA player who is helping this like girls basketball coach, and they have a romance. I don't know anything else about it other than ace rep, sapphic, basketball. Anita Kelly is one of my all-time favorite authors, and I will read anything that they write. So excited for this one, even though it's the last book in this like world. Prompt number 5. Let's go with this one. This one is to spin a wheel and pick a book that has that color on the cover. So let me go grab my laptop and we will spin a wheel. So I do have a wheel pulled up here, and we are going to spin the wheel. And we have deep purple. I'm just going to go with purple. Okay, so for a purple cover, originally I was thinking I would go with The Breakup Tour, but I decided to go with Bound by the Variety by S.J. Sanders. This has a lot of purple on the cover. I don't know if it's coming across very well because the cover is kind of dark. This is a sci-fi fantasy romance, monsters. I think it's polyamorous. I don't know anything else about it. Prompt 6. And this one. And this one is to read one of my 5-star predictions. I actually haven't posted my 5-star predictions video. It got bumped back to January. So let me grab my list really quick. So funny story, the only one on here that I can read is How You Got the Girl by Anita Kelly, which means I would need to find another book for a non-hockey romance. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go with How You Get the Girl by Anita Kelly for my 5-star predictions. This is the only one that I'm gonna say I can read. I do technically think I have one other one as an arc on here, but it doesn't come out for quite a while, which means I'd need a different book for the non-hockey sports romance. And we're gonna go with Frenemy Fix Up by Yara St. John. I'm not 100% if I'm saying that author's name correctly. So this is actually part of Harlequin's new imprint, Afterglow, and this is a yoga romance. I'm hesitant about this book because I have not seen the best reviews for it. And I also do and teach yoga, so I'm always nervous going into things that I do in my own life because it's so easy to pick up on like little things that aren't 100% correct. I want to say this is a debut author. Other than that, I want to say that these two are rivals and they end up having to work together because the hero is told that he needs to do yoga to like lower his stress levels, and the two of them end up having to work together. It sounds like a really cute concept, and I think that Harlequin's new imprint, as well as just whatever Harlequin is doing this year, they have amazing covers. They have a lot of really diverse romances coming out. I'm just very excited to read Harlequin books this year. So this is one of the ones that we are going to read. So that kind of fixes our situation here. Prompt number 7, trying to like get them off the bottom. Let's go with this one. This one is to read a book with a cover that I don't love. So this one's pretty easy for me, actually. And I think this is like a common consensus about Kristen Ashley in general, is that you read her books despite the covers, but I'm gonna go with The Roch by Kristen Ashley. These covers leave a lot to be desired. They're like sparkly, and I don't know what this font is. It's a choice. That's what we're gonna go with. I need to get this on the TBR anyways. And I'm just gonna put both the novella as well as the first book on here because I'm reading both of them. The covers are really sad. Prompt number 8, this one. This one is to read a book with my favorite color on the cover. If you've ever seen me pick this before, my favorite color is gray. This one is always hard for me because gray is not the most common book color. And so I always do have to stretch this a little bit, but I'm going to go with Prince of the Sorrows by Kellen Graves. The background of this one is quite grayish silver, and I feel like the overall vibe of this book is very muted and gray. This is, I believe, an fantasy romance. I don't remember if this was a recommendation from someone over on Instagram or if this one was also a recommendation from Kindle Unlimited. I'm trying to read more fantasy in 2024. This one is going to be in a vlog as well, and that vlog is coming towards the end of January. Prompt number 9. Let's go with this one. This one is to read a beautiful cover, so the opposite of one, a cover that I love. For this one, I'm going to go with Fragments of a Fallen Star by Viana Oniomo. I think this cover is stunning. This is one that I've talked about in a couple of different videos. I ended up downloading or putting all of this author's books onto my TBR after I read Sweet Vengeance by them. And I don't know any of the synopses for any of their books, but I loved Sweet Vengeance so much that I want to binge all of their books now. And I had originally planned or was going to read this earlier or towards the end of 2023, but I ended up being able to fit it into a video. And so we're going to read it in January instead. Prompt number 10. These are all stuck together. I think that's one. Is to read a book that is either dark or suspense. This can be romance or otherwise. I want to read Murder Road by Simone St. James. Simone St. James is my favorite, like, suspense author that isn't romance. She always does paranormal elements, and this is another one that I'm reading for Winterween. This one is following this couple who is driving down this creepy road, and they are on their way to their honeymoon, and they pick up this girl that they think's a hitchhiker, and they realize that she's bleeding out in the back of their car, and she ends up dying. And when they're at the hospital, they learn that people keep being murdered on this creepy road, and they're trying to figure out what is going on because now everyone thinks that they're the murderers. I'm pretty sure that the murder element is paranormal, and one of the things that I really like about Simone St. James books, on top of that like paranormal element, is the paranormal element in her books. Usually she uses those paranormal elements to have some sort of discussion, and I always really like how she does them, and so I'm excited to see where this one goes. Prompt number 11. These ones are all stuck together at the bottom. Let's go with this one. Nope, that's 2. Let's go with that. Nope, that's still 2. Let's go with this one. This one is a book that is recommended or hyped. I swear I picked this one like every single month. I'm gonna go with Sinner's Isle by Angela Montoya because I put this on my TBR because Heather from Hia Booktubes gave this one 5 stars. This is a fantasy, like a YA fantasy with a slight romance element. I believe our heroine is a witch and our hero is a pirate, and they are trying to get her off of this island, I believe. That's all I know about it, but like I said, I saw it in one of her fantasy TBRs, and then she gave it 5 stars, and so now I'm going to read it. And I'm actually going to read it for that week of Winterween, because one of their prompts is to read a book with a witch on the cover. and she's technically a witch, so we're gonna roll with it. So then the last prompt for our first TBR of 2024, let's pick this one. This is to read a seasonal book. I have two different versions of this one. This can either just be like a regular seasonal book, or it can be a book like off of my seasonal TBR. I do have one that's specifically off of my seasonal TBR. I guess for this one, we're gonna go with Canadian Boyfriend by Jenny Holiday. It is hockey season right now. In fact, I am going to a hockey game next week, Friday. So we're gonna count this as seasonal. She is wearing a scarf in here. We're gonna count hockey season as a seasonal book because I have this as an arc and I didn't get a single January arc onto this TBR. So we're gonna put this one on here, and that wraps up the first TBR of 2024. There are other books that I'm going to need to get in here. Two of them are Wildlife by Opal Way, which is an arc that was sent to me. I believe our heroine is in cancer research, and some of her stuff ends up getting sent to this guy who does like animal conservation research, and they get stuck on an island together, as well as The Breakup Tour by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. And this one is a second chance romance. So let me know what books you are hoping to read in January. Are you planning to participate in the buddy read? Do we have any of the same books on our TBR? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, I will see you in my next one. Bye.
So baby, bye. It's for the